This is Reincarnation Isekai, and it isn't uncommon to say that a truck plus a human equals a fantasy adventure. In the last few years, along with isekai stories, reincarnation has piggybacked along and basically fusing the two genres together, making it a huge juggernaut of a thing. One cannot think of reincarnation within anime without thinking of isekai, but that wasn't always the case. So to give you a more clear view on the entire timeline, I think it's best to start from the very beginning. So in ancient times, reincarnation has been around a very long time in Earth's history. While its origin is unclear, it found a dedicated audience within Asia. Reincarnation is the act of rebirthing your soul into a new life after you pass. The earliest teaching that talked about reincarnation that I could find was the Sramana, a tradition that eventually spawned Buddhism and Jainism, two of the four main Indian religions. For people less familiar with how Indian religions go and their relevance to the topic of this video, they put a great emphasis on karmic reincarnation. Depending on how well you lived your life, you will be offered a reward in your next life after reincarnation. Implementing these types of reincarnations into shows where after you die you are reborn into the same world but as a different person wasn't an uncommon idea. Think of shows like Sailor Moon, where the Sailor Scouts are the reincarnation of princesses of the Moon Kingdom. Or if you want to look more in the West, with Avatar, a show heavily tied into Eastern philosophies, the Avatar also reincarnates every time they die. And both shows have very little human-to-truck contact. Naruto is the same, by the way, where the titular hero and Sasuke are reincarnations of Indra and Ashura. But to further drive home how much reincarnation is baked into most Asian shows, aside from the obvious two main characters being reincarnations, the ability of the Rinnegan are named after all types of reincarnations. Reincarnation into another world didn't really start until way after the isekai boom of the 2010s, where being reincarnated with all your knowledge became more common. Light novels such as Remonster and The Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime were the frontrunners into this aspect, showing you a fantasy world through the eyes of a newly born creature but with the mentality of a fully grown human. But the one that took it a step above and beyond is A Jobless Reincarnation, a light novel where a lot of depth was given to the main character, Rudius, reflecting back to his previous life and slowly losing the bad aspects of himself of his previous life to show that he can live a life worth living, enjoying companionship from others while also being someone people can rely on. Mushoku Tensei isn't the first reincarnation isekai and most definitely isn't the last, but you can see a bit of its DNA into most reincarnation isekais that have come out ever since. However, that weren't a lot. There seems to be a misconception that every isekai or even the majority of isekai are reincarnation stories, but that just isn't true, as many of the isekai stories coming out are transported by other means like teleportation, portals or magical books. Trokun isn't as notorious as many make it out to be, and almost no one gets an entirely new body in the isekai process. Also, for you people wondering if the boom of isekai caused non-isekai reincarnations to cease existing, well, that is not the case. Oshinoko, a very popular example where the main two characters are reincarnated into the same world, unveiling more and more information about reincarnation as the manga continues, showing us that reincarnation is alive and well and still gaining audience. And if it did die, it will just be reborn again.